across national security, Department of Defense, as well as civilian agencies. In my role as CEO, which began last October, I've had the privilege of experiencing firsthand across this country, including here in San Diego, how SAIC shows up. And at each stop, I've witnessed our team working side by side with the government, with our customers, and in various communities to bring innovation and solutions to the forefront and really to drive on national imperatives facing this country. So, in a moment, we will honor and acknowledge some incredible, accomplished leaders. As a woman in the tech industry, I've benefited greatly from organizations like Women in AFCEA, which focus on creating a community of support and mentorship, and obviously, as you just heard, recently celebrated its first decade of advocacy last year. As a leader, I feel an imperative to walk the walk, and I'm proud to have with me some of the amazing women on my own leadership team, my executive leadership team, and I'm going to ask them to stand. Lauren Knausenberger, former CIO of the Air Force. Yes, Michelle O'Hara, my head of Human Resources. Barbara Suppley, my head of the Navy Business Group. And Hillary Hagman, my general counsel. It's not enough to talk diversity, you got to show up. And these women show up as part of the rest of my leadership team every day on behalf of SAIC and the missions we serve. These ladies also, along with my entire leadership team, because we have some pretty cool dudes that are at the table too. I just didn't announce them. They're very, very cool. But they've shown up every time when we look at how do we champion issues for women and diversity in the workplace. Now, we celebrate everyone who's going to be acknowledged today. We want you to know we see you, and it's super important to be seen at different stages of your career. I want you to know I grew up as a military brat, daughter of the Comptroller of the Army, former Cash McCall, if you know him by his code name, Lieutenant General James F. McCall, who's my roommate and who moved in after the death of my mom. We are a military family, and we support AFCEA and organizations like this around the world. Thank you, around the world. So look, your participation in this organization, your commitment to equality, are a positive force to be proud of. Your leadership ensures that the generations of women who are not just here, who are looking at us, my 5 children, my 9 grandchildren, and all those that you interact with, that they see women in these roles in national security across our country, and that is huge for where we're going to be going forward. So I thank you for the opportunity to welcome you to this amazing event. I'm looking forward to the celebration. Shante, it's back over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Towns-Whitley. It is an honor to have you be a part of this event. Next, I'd like to welcome to the stage J.C. Icard, Federal Field Channel Marketing Specialist at Ciena. Ciena Corporation, along with their co-sponsors and Creditech, have been longtime supporters of Women in AFCEA and our newly launched diversity program, IDEA. Thank you, J.C., for being here today.
Good evening, and what an incredible gathering we have here, honoring the women of tonight's awards. My name is J.C. Icard, the Federal Marketing Specialist at Ciena Government Solutions. I'm honored to stand before you as one of the proud sponsors of Women in AFCEA. At Ciena Government Solutions, we have the privilege of partnering with government agencies to accelerate transformation and drive innovation to meet evolving needs of the critical government missions. And now I would like to introduce this evening's speaker. Ms. Rathbun currently serves as the Department of Navy's CIO, driving continuous improvement and innovation of the DAWN's information technology portfolio. In her role, she ensures alignment of IT investment priorities to the SECNAV priorities and guides the execution of the DAWN's information security vision and focuses on modernization, innovating, and defending enterprise and business IT. Ms. Rathbun plays a key advocacy role for the DAWN data and cyber IT workforce initiatives and oversees DAWN CIO internal operations. Ms. Rathbun has a diverse civilian career in the government, driving change initiatives focused on improving decision advantage across key government and defense processes. It is my pleasure to invite Ms. Rathbun to the stage along with AFCEA's CEO, General Susan Lawrence, for the fireside chat.
We appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Good evening, everybody. Hello. Woohoo! I know. And she is going to be my new stylist here. And she says I need to relax here a little bit.
Let's get Susan some bands.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We are so excited to be here tonight, and we're going to recognize some amazing leaders among ourselves and Women in AFCEA. Every year, it's a tough decision to select our individuals, but each and every one that we're going to see tonight have been so critical to AFCEA International and growing the business as we go forward. It is very interesting, ma'am. The last time we were together, you were acting CIO. And I don't know how you act in any job, but acting CIO for the Department of Defense of the Navy, and we were sitting with bated breath, hoping that you would be selected. So, yay on the leadership of
Thank
the
you.
Department of
Thank you.
Defense that they selected you. We're really excited.
Thank you.
You know, the first time I met you, it was down in Hampton Roads a few years ago. And as watching you on the stage and discussing the things that you did truly inspired me, having been the CIO G6 of the Army and what the Department of the Navy was doing. There was really a wave there that was happening under your watch that I think has changed not only the Navy, but many of the services. So thank you for your leadership, which this afternoon we want to talk about how and why you got where you are today, and we're really excited about that. So as we look at the being a senior woman in the Department of Defense and looking at your leadership style and how you have made a difference, what do you think changed or influenced your approach as the role in the CIO?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for inviting me to speak at Women in AFCEA. I think it's a great organization, and I'm glad to be a part of your celebration of your folks who have achieved great heights, your women who have achieved great heights, I should say. I have had a very circuitous route to this job. First of all, I'm not a born technologist. I have an undergraduate degree in political science and a master's degree in public administration. I do love the strategic big picture. I do love fixing things. My husband and daughter would wish that I would not do those things. Want to fix everything. Can't you just listen, Mom? No, I've got to fix it. But I love the government process. I grew up, started my career working on the Commission on Rules and Missions of the Armed Forces in 1994, and they were charged, congressionally appointed commission, to look at what a post-Cold War Department of Defense looks like. So my very first job in government is looking strategically, big picture, at what DoD is going to look like in the future. And I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. I hope I just get to make copies and listen to people. They ended up putting me in charge of a project, and I was, just out of grad school and very afraid, but I was like, okay, I can do this. And so there I went, ran a project, got a lot of recognition for the project. It was on how can we deliver healthcare to our our military and our dependents in a more effective, efficient way. And we looked at how we do it today with military hospitals, and then how we would do it if we went to a federal employee health benefit program concept. It was really actually very cool. I got to brief Congress people, and I was like, wow, I really like this. And so my career went from there to being an ops research analyst and working mostly readiness issues, Army readiness issues, as a matter of fact. And then they started a new organization in the organization I worked in, and it was to bring over the Future Years Defense Program from the comptroller into what was PA&E at the time, is now CAPE, And they needed somebody to come in and run the translation of how data goes together in a SneakerNet form. That was the way we did it. People brought drives to the Pentagon to leveraging the World Wide Web in 1996, this was, and using it in the SIPR world, using bricks, if you remember bricks, coming out of machines and going into your safes. And so we, in 6 months, transformed the Future Years Defense Program from a SneakerNet process to a fully automated around the world data coming in through the web. And I got the bug. I got the bug for IT, and I'm like, I really like this. This stuff is cool. And so I would like to say that that started there and continued there, but my path went many different ways. I was in the Pentagon on 9/11 and lost my boss in the plane on the Pentagon, and that hit the Pentagon very surreal, and decided I needed to break from the Pentagon and went over to NASA for a while to learn how they did business. And I stayed there for 3 years and realized that how they did business is not how I was thinking working. It was very different from DoD, where if a leadership says something, you do it. You have a conversation about how you'll do it, and you might not agree with their direction, and you'll debate it, but then you'll go and do. And at NASA, it was very much a academic environment where there was a lot of debate, and nobody ever agreed on in my opinion. They get things done, right? They put rovers on Mars, so they're doing something right, absolutely. But at the headquarters level, I was not as comfortable as I was in DoD. So what I realized then is that DoD was my home. And then I just got to do all of these really interesting projects that some were policy, some were ops research, some were technology. And then I went to AFRICOM and ran their resourcing process and really enjoyed living overseas and working for a COCOM and understanding how they did business. When I got back, I was working in OSD acquisition, AT&L, acquisition technology and logistics at the time, and I had return rights, so I went back and they ended up putting me with a deputy assistant secretary for command control communications and intelligence and business systems, and they put me there because the personnel person didn't like me, and this particular leader was hard to work with. We ended up loving each other, and he really appreciated my perspective, and he didn't want to do bureaucracy because he came out of industry, and I knew how to do bureaucracy, and so I learned a lot from him. And when the opportunity to be an SCS in the business systems world came up, I applied, took it, and I became the one and only director of defense business systems in OSD, because as soon as I left and came to the Navy, they did away with the position. So my circuitous route, I got to systems, I was doing IT, and really business systems are a lot about bringing process and people together and figuring out how to leverage IT to reduce the burden on the person and allow the person to be more of a thinking analytic worker and less of a transactional worker. And so I loved that. I loved the merging of process and technology. And then the opportunity came up to come work for the Navy as the DAS for Information Warfare. And that portfolio was enterprise IT, business systems, and C4ISR, all of what AFCEA is about. And so I really learned a whole lot working in that job about acquisition, about these processes, these important warfighting capabilities. I would call myself the redheaded stepchild DASN because nobody, when you're competing with ships and aircraft and major weapon systems or combat systems, you don't get a lot of airtime with your boss and the leadership. And so, because I'm not building a 30-year shipbuilding plan, core to the Navy, absolutely important. But it gave me a lot of opportunity to really think about how to be innovative. And my leadership was about promoting promoting innovation. So when the CIO was re-stood up in the Department of Navy, I had been working on a lot of things before it was stood up that were CIO-like. Like, what does a future modern service delivery organization look like? And how do we create that for the Navy? Because we got to stop buying things by program in the IT space and really think about IT as a strategic asset. And so I went and sat myself down in front of the newly minted CIO, Aaron Weiss. I said, I think you should do this, this, and this. And he's like, you want to come work for me? And I said, well, I have a job. I go, but I really think that the connection between acquisition and IT management needs to be super strong. So how about I do the CCO job and be the DAS at the same time? And so that's what we did. And now that is the person who's going to replace me when they hire them is going to be co-joined with CIO and with acquisition as the DAS Information Warfare and Chief Technology Officer. So I think that model doesn't exist anywhere else, and I think it was a really smart move to keep acquisition and the IT community, IT cyber community, very tight. And so and then rest is history. I got to apply for the job, and the secretary selected me, and I'm very honored.
Yes, we all are, and it was a privilege to work with Aaron Weiss, having come from industry and his outlook. And of course, when you watched Aaron and Lauren Knassenberger work those things, they could make things happen. So
Yeah.
we really appreciate that. I just want to take a moment again. Ms. Rathman and I were able to sit on a panel earlier today, and I'm going to come back to one of those questions. But first of all, thank you to our industry partners, our
Yes.
sponsorships, because we could not do what we do without you. So let's recognize our sponsors again. Thank you. So one of the questions you addressed today is the partnership with industry and the criticality of that. Would you talk about that again?
Yeah, so it's really critically important that we maintain partnerships with industry. Industry is innovating at a speed which we can't in government keep up with, but can benefit from. We can also help them innovate in ways that help us with our problem sets. We have really good partnerships with a lot of your organizations, and we would not be where we were at if we did not have that partnership. You've got innovative people. We have innovative people. The strategic partnership part is not always trying to sell us, but trying to help us solve our problems. And that is my message to all of industry, and I really feel very positive about the relationships we have with our major industry partners and their willingness to be agile and adapt to our needs. And it is, again, we get to push them too. I mean, we are pushing Microsoft in many ways on their business-to-business, for example, suite to make it more useful for our use cases where we have organizations within organizations, and really learning from organizations who have gone on the digital journey already, companies who have built, platforms as I envision IT as being a strategic platform, and helping us think through those problem sets and how to architect that. It is a really great and rich exchange that we cannot deploy and or operate from the warfighting perspective without our industry partners.
Absolutely. That's a skill set that we have to learn inside our business, is that partnership. And I learned that as a CIO, and I would tell the Secretary of the Army, Chief of Staff of the Army, I said, we don't have the talent within the Army to be able to look over the horizon and do those. So couldn't agree more with our partnership with industry. We have some young women tonight that we're going to recognize. We're excited about what they've done for us in AFCEA. And last night, we gave out many emerging leader awards
Fantastic.
to our young women in our community. What would be your advice as they're seeking to become senior leaders themselves, not only in IT and STEM, which we do focus on, but just as an overall, what should they be working on now to be the CIO of the Department of the Navy one day?
So in my giving you my long story about how I got to where I'm at, there's no straight path. Number one, you could be doing many things and be where I'm at. Leadership, having good leadership skills doesn't necessarily mean you're tied to one functional area. As a matter of fact, I think my secret sauce is the fact that I've worked in almost all of the core processes in the Department of Defense, and so I have a good perspective. Sometimes people don't get that perspective, and so I want to encourage you to move around. I think moving around grows you as a person. Don't be so focused, whether you're in industry or government, in making it to the next level so quickly. Look around, do jobs, take laterals, do jobs that are going to round out your skill sets. I was the chief of staff for this deputy assistant secretary in acquisition. I'd never been a chief of staff. I found out I'm really bad at it. But I learned a whole lot of things about human resources management and taking care of your boss and all of the back office functions that when I recruited the chief of staff for our organization, I'm like, he's a PhD in chemistry. I'm like, I don't expect you to do this job forever, but if you want to be an SES, I think this is really great training. It was good training for me. Again, take projects that don't sound interesting and make them interesting. Like there's a lot of opportunity to be innovative and people will recognize that. Look for gaps and problems that nobody's addressing and see how you can potentially add value or make it important to somebody. When I started talking about enterprise services, again, this was before the CIO was stood up, in my own organization, in the acquisition community, I'm like, enterprise services, why would we do that? Why wouldn't we just all buy our own stuff? I'm like, terribly inefficient use of the taxpayer dollar. I'm like, we could do this better. And plus the cybersecurity surface that you're creating, attack surface that you're creating by doing that, not a good idea. So just be thinking out of the box and again, take those, sometimes they seem less sexy or less important jobs, but they teach you they give you a lot of good skills. And well-roundedness is a critical piece of being a good leader, is really understanding the many aspects of your world that you're going to have to deal with and be able to provide that context and that relevance to the discussion.
Absolutely. I enlisted as an 18-year-old private stenographer, and most people have to Google what that was then.
I know what that is.
Yeah. But I was being interviewed when I was CIOG6, and after the normal interview, she looked around my office and said, "Did you ever imagine one day you would be the CIO of the United States Army?" And in a nanosecond, I said, "It's unimaginable." And so today, you're the CIO of the Department of Defense. Were there pivotal moments that said, I can do this? Or, I think you described my journey. You take a job and you turn it into something that matters. But is there something that you can think of that was really pivotal that said, I can do this. I can be the CIO of the Department of the Navy?
Well, when I was in the acting, I've got two pieces to this. When I was in the acting role, there was at some point where I was like, I'd be okay if I'm just the deputy. And then at some point, like 6 months into the acting role, I'm like, I don't want to work for someone else. I want to do this. I can do this. I had demonstrated that I could do it in the acting role. And I'm like, and if somebody else gets the job, I think I'm going to be mad. So I was like, I had decided that if someone else gets the job, then I am going to go do something else, is what I said to myself. So in this current instantiation of my life, that was the pivotal moment where I'm doing this job. I can do it. I have a great team, an outstanding team, way smarter than I am technically. When people are talking to me sometimes and I don't understand what they're talking about, I'll look over to one of them and they see my cue and they're like, ma'am, this is what they're talking about. And I love that relationship. I don't want to be the smartest person in the room. I want to be learning all the time. And that's been a really fantastic piece of this. And again, having folks who are passionate, who are working out the issues and want to be part of the solution really, energizes me every morning to get out of bed. The other pivotal moment for me was before I became the Deputy Assistant Secretary for Information Warfare. My background, I didn't take physics in high school. I know that's terrible. I just didn't understand it, and it wasn't my thing. I later understood it, and so my brain evolved just at a different pace than others. That wasn't the pivotal moment, not taking physics, but when I was being interviewed for the Deputy Assistant Secretary of the Navy for Information Warfare, Secretary Gertz brought me in the office. He's like, I heard great things about you. Come work for us. That was all he said, 5 minutes. And he didn't really look at my paperwork. He didn't ask me about my background. And I'm like, this is a big portfolio. This is enterprise IT. I get that. Business systems, I'm really good at business systems because that's what I had been doing. But C4ISR, what the heck? Space? All of those things. And so I went home and after talking to Secretary Gertz, and then I had talked to one other thing. I had talked to the 3-star admiral who Secretary Gertz wanted me to meet. It was Admiral Johnson at the time. And he looked at my paperwork and said, I'm like, why are you considering me for this job? He's like, yeah. I said, I said, I'm not going to pretend to be an expert in any of these things, but my job is not to be the expert. My job is to remove roadblocks and make it so the program managers can be successful. And I can smell bureaucracy from a mile away. We can figure these things out. I don't need to be the expert. I'll learn that stuff. But I went home and told my husband after those 2 interviews, I'm like, I just don't know if I should do this because I'm not an expert. I don't know anything. And he just looked at me and he said, you can do anything you want. You will learn the stuff that you don't know, and they want you because you know how to lead. And coming from my husband, that was really amazing, but it was really like, okay, I can do this. And I haven't looked back, so that was 5 years ago, so.
That is amazing, and the discussion you had at noon today with your daughter and her
Yes.
path forward as she's going. As you all can see with Ms. Rathbun, she is an amazing leader, a humble leader. And if you ever see her on the agenda, make sure you go see her, because every time.
You're sweet.
No, every time I learn still from you, and it is important. I could do this discussion all night,
Yeah.
and it's amazing, but we do have to recognize some
Sure.
young ladies tonight. But in closing, what would be your thoughts, your advice to the young women in here who want to be you one day?
So go for it. I mean, I just met Tony from SAIC tonight, and I'm like, I want to be her friend. I mean, I've known Lauren Knausenberger for a while, and Barbara Supley. You guys are just amazing people, and these are all female leaders in our career field. This is a place where you guys can excel and really do the mission justice. I'm like, be mission oriented, be mission focused. Don't worry about the next promotion. Like, go and do things that enrich your life. Make time for your family. I mean, I was a GS-15 from 1999 to 2016. Why? Because I wanted to spend time with my daughter. I wanted to work, and I worked the whole time, but I wanted to make sure I had that work-life balance right. And then everything else just came. And I really can say that I feel comfortable as a leader now, I think, because I spent that time having these experiences. You don't have to wait as long as me. Like, it also worked out perfectly because my daughter decided to go to boarding school right when I became an SES, so I really had the time to focus on doing that. So I thank her for that. It probably saved her teenage years and our relationship. But yeah, just go for it, ladies. And it is tougher. I love the men in the room. I love my husband, but if you're parents, if you're a mother, you just have to really do more to get it all done. And so be proud of yourselves for that. And my last thing would be happy Valentine's Day. If you can't be with the ones you love the ones you're with. And so have a great day. So thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
That
You
was
were awesome.
wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Rathbun and General Lawrence, for that inspiring discussion. Some really good nuggets, especially in there for all of us. We really appreciate your time today. And as a token of our appreciation, we are making a donation to Girls Who Code, an organization working to close the gender gap in technology with programs that educate, equip, and inspire girls with the computing skills they will need to pursue techno opportunities. Is everybody doing okay? Are we ready to award some phenomenal women today? All right. Now I would like to extend a very warm welcome to our award winners, their families and friends, and our West attendees. We are so glad you're attending this ceremony. This is the 11th year that AFCEA has presented its Women Appreciation Awards, and as always, we've had an excellent slate of candidates to choose from. This award is for AFCEA members, both women and men, who have gone above and beyond to further the careers of women. This includes supporting women's work endeavors, mentoring women, promoting STEM scholarships, advocating on behalf of women for promotion, and actively developing shared opportunities for women in the workplace. I'd like to call up Lieutenant General Susan Lawrence to join me on the stage, as well as Lieutenant General William Bender to help congratulate our award winners. Just a note for our award winners, when you come to the stage to receive your award, we will have your photo taken before you give your remarks, and please be sure to remove your badge. Okay, our first award winner is Lauren Beward, Business Development Manager, Bravura Information Systems, Inc. As the current Aberdeen Chapter EVP, Lauren plans and develops chapter-level events focused on women in GovCon. As a member of Women in AFCEA, she supports the development and planning of virtual mentorship events. Lauren personally mentors 2 young women in the local defense community and works with her CEO to allocate $20,000 per year in Bravura NMTC scholarships for women in STEM. She was honored with the NMTC Rising Star Award in 2023 for excellent contributions to building STEM-educated workforce and advancing our innovation technology base. She is a 2-time finalist for the Athena Young Professional Award for serving as a role model to young women, personally and professionally, and as an active volunteer for SARC, a nonprofit focused on supporting survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault in Harford and Cecil counties. Please join me in congratulating Lauren. Absolutely. Come on up. Mom, come on up.
We're bringing you up, Mama.
I'm sorry. This young lady is my life.
No.
Thank you so much. Whew, I actually had to write some things down because I was worried I would be so emotional I would just not know what to say. To say that I am blown away and humbled by this award would be an absolute understatement. I mean, look at these incredible awardees and everything that they have accomplished. Standing beside them and being called a change maker and an advocate for women in our industry is the greatest honor of my career. Fighting for and advocating for women is a mission that's always been dear to my heart. I was raised entirely by women, strong, beautiful role models who have been to hell and back to fight for themselves and their family. It's no wonder that when I proudly chose my first AOL dial-up screen name as a young girl, I selected Power to Girls with a Z because it was the 90s after all. Fast forward to the woman I am today, working with Women in AFCEA, Women in Defense, volunteering with organizations dedicated to ending domestic violence, mentoring young up-and-coming women in our industry, and I really hope that young girl would be proud. To my friends and colleagues at AFCEA, both at the international and chapter level, thank you for this honor. Joining AFCEA has been life-changing for both my professional and personal growth. I cannot thank you enough for welcoming me with open arms and allowing me to be part of something that's so much bigger than myself. I'd also like to thank Bravura CEO Claudine Adams for being an amazing mentor and giving me so many opportunities to grow and shine in our woman-owned small business. Finally, I'd like to thank my family, my Aunt Donna, my Grandma June, who turns 97 this year, and whom I care for full-time alongside my mother. But most of all, I'd like to thank my mom, Kim, who is right there. Originally, she was going to be sitting out there, but now she is here. It's not an easy feat for her to be here since we're both caregivers. Look at this beautiful woman. She has always been my best friend, my biggest cheerleader, and my greatest inspiration. She has taught me how to stand tall in the face of adversity, to ensure that my voice is always heard, to reach for my dreams. She's taught me how to be both strong and soft, to work hard but remember to play even harder, to be kind to others, and maybe even more importantly, to be kind to myself. I want to dedicate this award tonight to her. Mama, I wouldn't be standing here today without your wisdom, guidance, and love. And I love you with all of my heart. Thank you.
Does anybody need to run to the bar and get tissues really quick? Congratulations, Lauren. Our next winner is Colonel Mietta Groneveld, Netherlands Army, NATO C2 COE. Colonel Groneveld, throughout her career, has made the advancement of women in the military and business one of her most prominent goals, both in her professional life and within AFCEA Europe. In her leadership with AFCEA, she has mentored young members, both male and female. Her strong support of women's equal rights has made her a well-known advocate for supporting female officers, NCOs, and enlisted personnel in their military careers. By becoming one of the first female directors of a NATO Center of Excellence and in standing the tests in this position, she became a role model for many officers in the Netherlands Armed Forces, as well as in NATO. She is internationally well acclaimed as a leader and provider of intellectual guidance in all questions of command and control, and specifically in conditions of digitized armed forces. Please join me in congratulating Colonel Groneveld, who could not be here today, but has said a few words that we will play now.
Good afternoon, San Diego. What an honor to receive such a prestigious award. And how lucky I am to share this moment with you. Technology is emerging with exponential speed, and especially in the field of command and control, it is having a huge impact on our headquarters structures, on our decision making, on our assessments, just on everything we do. In our journey to support NATO on command and control, the discussions with the AFCEA community has been essential to me to understand better what's going on. The events, the discussions, and the individual enlightening. I see this award also as a constant reminder that we need to keep pushing for diversity, equality, and inclusions in our organizations. Thank you again for this great award. Tot ziens! From Utrecht, the Netherlands.
Congratulations, Colonel Groneveld. Next is Lieutenant Colonel Stephanie Hahn, U.S. Air Force, Cisco Systems. As a former squadron commander, Lieutenant Colonel Hahn had the most diverse unit to include key leadership positions out of her wing's 14 squadrons. She instituted benchmarked hiring practices to ensure the diversity of candidates applying and required diversity on hiring panels to limit institutional bias. For her actions, she was the wing's nominee for the Brigadier General Wilma Vaught Visionary Leadership Award, awarded to an Air Force officer whose personal, innovative efforts have improved the integration and opportunities for women in the Air Force. She has developed a speaker series of experienced women in key leadership roles in STEM, leadership, sponsorship, and advocacy. Through her leadership, she developed a group of mentors that grew STEM education and advocacy throughout the Alamo region. As the military lead for the Women of Alamo AFCEA, she also spearheaded virtual professional development sessions focused on networking and sponsorship, leading a multi-generational workforce in equity and equality for women in leadership, and has actively supported and promoted STEM scholarships and careers to female students at any educational level. Lieutenant Colonel Hahn could not be here today, but please join me in congratulating her. Our next award winner is Lieutenant Colonel Vanessa Johnson, U.S. Air Force retired. Client Services Manager, Broadcom. With nearly 30 years as an AFCEA member and 21 years in the Air Force, Vanessa demonstrated significant dedication to mentoring women in STEM within the Rocky Mountain, the military, and industry. Vanessa was asked by both the DISA director and the commander of the Air Force Cyber Capability Center to mentor young women, working for them based on her successful career in the Air Force and post-retirement civilian life. Through these mentoring conversations, she was able to provide much-needed professional guidance to these women and continues an ongoing relationship with them. Vanessa has been instrumental in expanding Rocky Mountain's community partnerships since 2019, supporting over $1,000 given annually. Excuse me, $100,000. Thank you. Vanessa has supported AFCEA International's diversity goals by actively recruiting women for key chapter board and Rocky Mountain Cyberspace Symposium committee positions. Most recently, she drove the adoption of the VP of IDEA position for the chapter. She recruited a new female member of the chapter to serve in this role. With 9 years of Rocky Mountain chapter leadership, Vanessa continues to create opportunities for women. Please join me in congratulating Lieutenant Colonel Johnson. Would the Rocky Mountain chapter join us on the stage, please?
You too, Mike. Sorry, I don't have family here. That's right. Please take your badges off.
Oh, yeah.
That's what you get.
I didn't think that this was coming.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see your video.
Yep, I'm about to make it up. Come on, Mike. All right. I was going to say Mike's going to rearrange us anyway. So. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, okay. All right, so I'm 100% unprepared for this because there's a few of us that didn't realize that we had remarks to give. But those of you in the room that know me know that I am never short of words. So, seriously, this is such an honor. And I know quite a few of you in the room. You're part of the reason that I'm standing here. So there's lots of mentors here that watched me grow in my Air Force career and have helped me outside of my Air Force career. Most of you that have been in the military, especially as women in the military, know what it's like to be usually the only girl in the room. You know, and the other thing I'll say is that we don't always hold each other up as women. It's kind of we're fighting against each other. And I noticed that early on, and I tried really hard to make sure that I wasn't doing that. I wasn't the person that was holding another woman down. We have too much of that going on right now, so that's one of my passions, is making sure that I'm trying to help other women be successful in whatever they want to do. So I want to thank everybody that is out there that I know that has been instrumental in my career, instrumental in helping with this, because this is a chapter award, honestly, and not just an individual award, because I wouldn't be up here without all y'all. So thank you. All y'all.
Congratulations, Lieutenant Colonel Johnson. Our next 2024 award winner is Teresa McAlaloy, founder and CEO, McAlogic. An active member of the Dayton Wright chapter for more than 25 years, Teresa is a 2023 recipient of the Dayton Business Journal's Women's Power 50 Award, recognizing significant contributions to women in the region. Currently, the chapter executive VP. Her previous roles include VP Education, Treasurer, and Women's Outreach Leader. She fosters relationships with other female-owned companies, developed teaming relationships with many, and served on the Air Force Lifecycle Management Center Tiger Team to promote inclusion of women-owned businesses. Teresa guides young female business owners regularly, meeting them to provide advice and counsel. A respected and stalwart business leader in Ohio, she's a gateway between senior leaders and female business owners that are key to teaming opportunities. Through 40 years of growing experience and expertise as a government contractor, she has coached and mentored over 20 young women who are now senior leaders in their organizations. She actively mentors women in her own company, of which over 70% of her leadership team are female, and methodically introduces female business owners to senior government and industry leaders, advocating for inclusion of women-owned business goals and acquisitions across the DoD. Please join me in congratulating Teresa. Yes, ma'am. Would the Dayton Wright chapter join us on stage, please?
And the RVP.
Where is Joni? Right here.
So I didn't know that I was supposed to say anything, but I will. So I wanted to have the people from my chapter come up because this is actually on my heart. I have been doing government contracting, and I'm probably going to cry, for 40 years. I am not from a military family. I am not from a DoD civilian family. I am not any of that. But the DoD embraced me and taught me and trained me, and it was terrifying because it was all men, and I was very uncomfortable with that. But I found my people, and that was a lot of men that mentored me and a lot of women that mentored me. So right now I can tell you that what is on my heart is turning around and helping the young women reach whatever potential is they want. Business development, work part-time, be an IT guy, be a whatever it is. My job now, through my life, when I look back at all the crappy jobs I've taken, all the stupid things I did where frankly, and some of you are going to recognize this, I did work that someone else took credit for. I'm so grateful for those opportunities because now I can turn around and help people do those same things in their careers and move forward. So AFCEA has been the bridge between me going, I'm sorry, what does a general officer do? Does that mean they don't know how to do anything? I don't get it. Swear to God, I said that to Major General John Phillips, if anybody knew him. So AFCEA was the bridge between me literally saying those things because I didn't get it, to now understanding the rare air that I get to breathe amongst all of you. Also, I would like to be new best friends with the CEO of SAIC. So thank you. Thanks again.
Okay, congratulations, Teresa. Our next winner is Keena McCall Pastor, Information Technology Manager, Air Force Lifecycle Management Center. Keena has long been an advocate for women in both the Montgomery chapter and at the Air Force Lifecycle Management Center, Business and Enterprise Systems Directorate at the Maxwell Air Force Base, Gunter Annex, Alabama. Keena is a recognized leader and a women's advocate in the Montgomery area. Also, as a 30-year veteran retiring at the rank of colonel, Keena was invited to participate at historically Black colleges and university mentoring sessions with Alabama State University's and Tuskegee's Air Force ROTC students. Kina is also a mentor for both senior and emerging leader women, as well as the organizational senior functional for over 600 military and civilian employees in the information technical career field. Kina advocates for and is key to hiring women in highly sought-after leadership roles that have direct communication with the Air Force Chief Information Office and supporting organizations. Please join me in congratulating Kina. Her husband is also here. Can you join us on the stage, please?
Where's Sharice? Sharice, come on.
Is Sharice coming? Come on, Sharice.
Where'd you go? Here she is.
Coming.
Hey, Boz, while they do the, while we wait for Sharice, let's get a photo
Oh,
of
just
Kina
them.
and her husband.
Get away. Stay away.
No. Look at you, look at red.
We coordinated you. With you.
All right, Boz, Sharice.
We're getting close. Here, I'll get over here. Yes.
Okay, I'm part of the group that didn't get the note words memo. But I do want to say that I'm extremely honored to be among the women in this group. Just reading, some of the backgrounds of some of the things that my fellow awardees have done in the past is really, really amazing. What I would tell you is that for me as a young woman, knowing that I wanted to go to college, both my parents, graduated from high school. They didn't go to college, but they knew that I wanted to go to college. And I didn't have any mentors, male or female, to guide me in that way. And so I did manage to get to college and join ROTC and commission as a lieutenant. And as I moved up the ranks and started learning more about the importance of mentorship and sharing information, whether you're sharing it to your subordinates or with your peers, it helps help us to move forward. And I took a stronger interest in trying to make sure that I provide any type of mentorship to women whether they're in the military or not. And as I rose to the rank of colonel, I didn't realize how rare it was in some circles to come across a African-American colonel, female colonel, that is. And so when I really understood how rare it was to run into women like myself, that's when I really made it my mantra to reach out to other women, to offer my availability to support them. And right now, even as I'm retired, I do my best to make myself available to women or young girls that are in my church, women that are in my organization, women that are in AFCEA, to let them know that, hey, I'm here to help you, answer any questions, and if I don't know the answer, I know a lot of people like Ms. Sharice who can give me the answer. So I am very honored to accept this award, and I thank AFCEA International for recognizing me. Thank you, ma'am.
Our next award winner is Lieutenant Commander Rashonda McKee, U.S. Navy retired, Information Technology Program Manager, U.S. Pacific Fleet. Rashonda Sean McKee joined AFCEA Hawaii in 2015, and the chapter has continuously benefited from her consistent leadership and evolving vision to guide its actions and community involvement. She single-handedly created and executed a STEM extravaganza event with hands-on technology interaction to foster and sustain interest in STEM to K-12 students and educators and ensure that they reached out to female high school students. Sean is a natural mentor to female scholarship students and young business and government professionals attending the Hawaii chapter's luncheon and tech talks. As a retired U.S. Navy Lieutenant Commander and current government civilian at the U.S. Pacific Fleet, she guides women in the military, government, and contract staff to obtain the certifications and experiences necessary to be promotable or employed. Lieutenant Commander McKee could not join us today, but please join me in congratulating her. What was that? Was that an aloha? Okay. All right, our last award winner for today is Kirsten Miller-Jones. Director of Business Operations at Venture Technology Services. Kirsten supports the development of women professionals by facilitating mentorship in her professional life and life within AFCEA. She is the VP of Small Business for the AFCEA Central Maryland chapter and leverages her role to advocate for a strong presence of women-owned companies at Central Maryland's monthly luncheons, on panels, at Lunch and Learns, and on the Small Business Podcast. She has mentored numerous young women throughout her career and provides mentorship on cultural aspects of the industry, such as professional attire. To support women who do not have a large budget for clothing, she has donated her own money as well as her own business attire to ensure that they are able to present themselves with confidence in the workplace. She looks forward to continuing to channel her passions to developing new opportunities for her female colleagues. She's also passionate about STEM scholarships, and so passionate that she founded the Chrissy Bobb Community College STEM Scholarship, which was named to honor one of the Central Maryland chapter's brightest young women leaders who passed away at a young age. This merit-based scholarship awards up to $6,000 each academic year to high school students attending community colleges on a full-time basis. Please join me in congratulating Kirsten. If the Central Maryland chapter could join us up on the stage, please. We should get a photo,
I know,
right?
we should get a
Because
photo.
we're twinning.
We're twinning here, by the way.
Hold on, Mike, can you take a photo of us since we...
Yeah.
I know I'm the last one to go. And these 7 amazing women that went before me, can we just give a round of applause to all of them? Because I don't think I can say anything more. They're so amazing, and I'm just grateful for my Central Maryland chapter. You guys are my rock and have been both men and women mentors to me, and I couldn't ask for anything more. So thank you guys so much. This is for Central Maryland, you guys.
Thank you, General Lawrence and General Bender, for helping honor our awardees. Please join me in a big round of applause.
And for all of you, as you know, this is her first time. We are so excited with her promotion, so congratulations.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, so a big round of applause for all of our award winners. These women who were honored here today are just some of those forging the way ahead for women in AFCEA, and we look forward to celebrating many more of these successes in the years to come. To close out our recognition ceremony today, I hope that we've shown that AFCEA truly values the contributions of those incredible women and we're an inclusive organization where all are welcome to engage and to personally and professionally develop their leadership and networking skills. This year, Women in AFCEA is holding its Women in STEM event, the STEM Empowerment Forum, at the Booz Allen Hamilton office in Northern Virginia on March 15th. This event will feature a keynote speaker followed by panels focused on cybersecurity and emerging technologies. The event closes with a networking reception, and we hope that you can join us next month. Women in AFCEA also hosts a monthly virtual happy hour. Further information regarding these monthly virtual meetups can be found on the Women in AFCEA or event pages on the AFCEA website. Women in AFCEA has also launched a mentorship program. And if you're interested in applying to be a mentee, please go to the Women in AFCEA page on the AFCEA website. Thank you all for attending this afternoon's program. We hope you enjoyed listening to Jane Rathbun's Fireside Chat. We're inspired by our award winners and what they've done for their fellow women. And join me in appreciation for our sponsors, Sienna, Increditech, SAIC, JJR Solutions, and Cynthia Pacheco, who were wholeheartedly supportive of the aims of the initiatives of Women in AFCEA. Thank you to our Women in AFCEA Planning Committee, our events team, and AFCEA's Inclusion and Diversity Manager, Allison Hansard. Thank you all, and have a wonderful evening. If we group photo, please, of all of the winners. If you could bring your awards up. Thank you.